Guiding Light, presented by Ivory Soap. More doctors advise Ivory than any other skin soap. And does, the soap that does everything in your washing machine.
Madam, wait. Hands and dishes are different stuff. Hands are sensitive, China's tough. Hands need a skin soap, Ivory is it. Floated in your dishpan, you'll admit your hands aren't made of China. Hands need a skin soap in the dishpan. Pure, mild ivory. It's the only leading dishwashing product made for the skin. Why, ivory's gentle enough for a baby's skin. Those detergents, they may be okay for us dishes, but your hands aren't made of China. Has some detergent done this to your hands? Dried them out? Then you float Ivory soap in your dishpan. Why, in 7 days, you'll have nicer looking, nicer feeling hands.
It works.
Try America's favorite dishwashing soap, Ivory. Your hands aren't made of China.
So things just piled up on Dick till the pressure was more than he could take.
Are you trying to tell me, Dr. Kelly, that Dick Grant would let his personal problems affect his work that drastically? Well, these problems should have made him give himself more to his work.
Perhaps yes, under ordinary circumstances, Dr. Baird.
Meaning?
Meaning that Dr. Thompson stood in the way of that. Before you left for Europe, Dr. Baird, you must have been aware that these two men didn't get along together.
Well, I thought it was just a case of getting used to working together.
Well, things got worse, I guess, after you left.
What do you mean, guess?
Dr. Baird, I'm in no position to criticize the man that you've taken on as your associate.
What are you getting at, Kelly?
All I'm going to say is this. That whatever happened to Dick Grant in surgery that morning was the last thing, the very last thing that Dr. Thompson wanted to happen. But on the other hand, I'm sure that he was very, very anxious for Dick to leave Cedars.
Jim, you know where Dick is?
Dr. Baird, do you think that if I
This
did...
is such waste, such sheer waste. A doctor like Dick Grant.
Yes, I agree with you. It's a tragic waste. If we only knew where he was.
No one has heard from him since that day he went to pieces in surgery.
No one. Grant's even hired a private detective agency. Newspapers all over the country carried the story.
Yes, Dr. Thompson told me it had been in the press. He also said... Jim, do you think Dick seemed unusually upset prior to this whole thing?
Well, Dr. Baird, he was under a great strain. Tremendous pressure.
What sort of strain? I mean, aside from this personal angle.
Fellas, you guys are soldiers. I don't want to...
Did you say that you were going to visit the Grants tonight, Doctor?
Yes, I am. I intend getting to the bottom of this whole thing, one way or the other.
Well, may I suggest that you be a bit careful of what you say because of Mrs. Grant?
You don't mean my going over there might upset her?
No, I don't think so. I've been seeing a lot of them. They seem to like to have people around who knew Dick well, who thought a lot of Dick.
Jim, you talk as if Dick were... Now, let me tell you something. Whatever happened to Dick, wherever he is now, he is going to come back to take his place as the doctor he is.
Yeah, I hope you're right, Dr. Baird.
Of course I'm right. That's the way it's got to be. I'll see you again tomorrow, Doctor.
Right.
When they start making comments like this,
Mommy, these pajamas don't feel right. They're kind of scratchy.
Then it's time you made a change in your wash day product. You see, some products leave fibers feeling stiff and scratchy. But not Does. Does gets clothes dazzling clean, dazzling white. But does more than just clean. Does gives fabrics a softness no detergent can. A Does wash is clean and soft. You can feel the difference. Those pajamas, your sheets and towels have a wonderful new softness because Does washes softness in while it scrubs dirt out. It's the soap in Does that does it. Does leaves your hands soft, too. Of all leading wash day products, Does gives hands the mildest possible care. No detergent can do all that. It's the soap in Does that does it.
I'm just trying to get to the bottom of the whole thing, Mr. Grant. I feel that if we know the cause, then we can proceed.
Dr. Baird, our son is gone. What's the use of going into all this?
Dr. Baird is here as a friend. He has Dick's interest at heart.
Forgive me, Dr. Baird. I didn't mean to seem rude.
Please, Mrs. Grant. I realize my coming over here, asking you a lot of questions must...
No, you mustn't feel that way. We're very grateful that you came over.
We know how much you thought of Dick and all that you did for him, Doctor.
Of all the young men I've watched and worked with, and there have been many over the years, Dick had the greatest promise. He was a doctor through and through.
Yes.
As you must know, this came as a shock to me. I only learned of it after my return from Europe. It's inconceivable that Dick would throw over everything he's worked so hard for. I will say there was a time when Dick went through a certain period of instability, and it did have an effect on his work for a time, but...
I suppose you mean while he was still married, Doctor.
Yes, then, and even afterward for a time. However...
My son should never have married Kathy Lang.
Laura.
Oh, I'm sure Dr. Baird knows all the details, Richard, so why should we try to hide it? It was a horrible experience for Dick, Dr. Baird. Finding out that his wife had been secretly married before, that the child he thought was his was another man's.
Yes, Mrs. Grant. I appreciate the fact that it was an emotional strain. I realized at the time what Dick was going through.
I wonder if any of us can really realize.
Perhaps not. But when I talked to Dick during that period, when I explained to him that a doctor has to keep his personal and professional lives separate, well, he straightened himself out as far as I was concerned.
The problems were still there, Dr. Baird, even though he may not have shown what they were doing to him.
Some of the finest doctors I've known, some of the most successful people in all walks of life have had real tragedies in their personal lives.
Yes, of course they have, Doctor. If Dick's life had been different professionally, I'm sure this would never have happened to him.
I suppose you're referring to Dick's relationship with Dr. Thompson. I know there was a clash of personalities.
More than that. Much more. Your associate destroyed my son, Dr. Baird. Destroyed his confidence in himself as a doctor.
Come now, Mr. Grant, you're not asking me to believe...
I'm telling you what happened, Dr. Baird. You'd always allowed Dick a certain leeway, a chance to use his own initiative. Dr. Thompson treated him like a junior intern.
Well, naturally, every doctor has a different way.
Don't tell me it's natural for a doctor to tear a young resident apart in front of everyone else for no reason at all.
Dr. Thompson did that?
Not once, but time and time again, he was constantly trying to embarrass Dick, undermine him.
Dr. Thompson is a very fine doctor, Mr. Grant. I can hardly believe...
I think this had something to do with the man, not the doctor. And I told him so.
You?
Yes. After Dick left, I went to see Dr. Bart Thompson. I asked him why he'd done this to my son.
And what did Dr. Thompson say?
He denied it.
I see.
Dr. Baird, in all the time that Dick worked for you, did you ever have any complaints, any criticism of him?
Certainly nothing that amounted to anything.
Well, then does it stand to reason the moment you leave the country, Dick deserves this criticism from Thompson?
Well...
No. Just doesn't make sense, Dr. Baird. Why this man did what he did, I don't know. But he wanted to get rid of Dick. And that's what he did. He destroyed my son. I saw what happened to that boy day after day, week after week.
And you have no idea where your son might be?
Dr. Baird, you don't suppose we'd be sitting here talking to you if we knew?
But for a man simply to vanish without...
That's what we keep saying over and over. It isn't possible. It couldn't happen. But it did. I don't think I can stand much more of this. I can't.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Grant, if my coming here has...
No. It's just everything.
I think it is better if I don't stay any longer this evening. I wish there was something I could do.
We thank you so much for coming over, Doctor.
Good night, Mrs. Grant.
Good night, Dr. Baird.
I'll be in touch with you, Mr. Grant.
Thanks so much, Doctor. Good night.
Goodbye.
Oh, Richard.
You've got to pull yourself together, dear. You've got to.
I can't. Not anymore. Oh, where is he? What's happened to our
Kittens washed their mittens and hung them out to dry. But when the kittens put on their mittens, they began to cry.
Meow. This feels scratchy.
Well, you see, detergent suds can leave your duds with that scratchy touch. From now on, kittens, does your mittens.
Oh, thank you very much.
Does gets 'em clean as you've ever seen, but does even more. Just feel 'em now.
They're fluffy. Wow.
Softer than ever before. And you can bet with Does you get new softness for your mama's towels, skirts, dad's work shirts, and all the cat's pajamas. And hands can stay so soft this way. Does is a soap, you see.
It's powerful stuff.
But it never plays rough. It leaves your wash as soft as can be. See what I mean? It's more than clean.
It never was softer, was it?
Remember, kittens, for clean, soft mittens, it's the soap in Does that does it.
The Guiding Light, created by Erna Phillips, has been presented by Ivory Soap, 99 and 44/100% pure. It floats and does, the soap that does everything in your washing machine.